So I showed these saplings in a previous video, and what I wanted to show this week is that in the past week the bear has come back and revisited this site and marked it once again on the little saplings here. Now they don't look like much is going on here, and it's kind of tough to tell unless you really get close and look at the details here. And the best thing that tells you there's been activity here is any disturbance, like this disturbance right here caused by a bear stepping there, breaking off some of the vegetation like this and stomping it into the ground. So coming up over here, you can note right here there's disturbance, and then down here there's disturbance. So basically the bear went over this, straddle marking it, and as he went he left footsteps down here like this one right here. That's a black bear track. You can see the pine Douglas fir needles have been mashed into the ground right here by the weight of a footstep. No other animal out here is that size. No other animal out here is going to straddle mark these trees. Here's a ruler for scale there. So that's a good 4-inch wide track. Now what the bear did is straddled this tree and walked over it, bending it forward. Now when I do that, note right down here how loose that trunk is. See, that's a kind of a hole where the trunk is actually moving around. Now that wouldn't happen just naturally. Naturally this tree would stand up straight. But look for further evidence, and right here next to it you can see the evidence where the bear stepped. So see the large flattened area here with the Douglas fir needles that have been stomped into the ground. So the bear straddled this tree and went right along, straddled this tree, did the same thing here. Note again that it's bending over easily, and came over here, straddled these ones. Note the disturbance right here, and so on and so forth. So this bear went back and forth. So it went this direction, and then it turned around and went the other direction. And I think these ones were broken off in this direction. So fresh breaks right here and up here. These are freshly broken off. This has been knocked over. You can see the damage to the vegetation down here where there's broken off and bent over plants. And then over here you can see where the bear stomped right in here. See the disturbed vegetation, the moss has been kicked forward. And then over here it's more open, but there's a disturbed area here. And this is the tree that I had shown last week. So a week ago the bear had only gone over these trees right here. This tree, that huckleberry. But now the bear has gone in a second direction and has scent marked on the saplings down there. So if the bear keeps using this, those could get knocked over like this one has been. It just depends on how strong the tree is and how much bending it can take before it actually breaks off. So if they get damaged further, the bear could kill the tree. Otherwise, they're just going to be here and they'll keep growing, but their trunks may be a little twisted and they might lose some branches. But the bears have been marking here. This is called straddle marking, and they do it to leave scent. So it's kind of interesting to see the repeat use by the bear, and it will be interesting to see how this develops over the summer, because this is probably a good 12 feet from here to there of just saplings and shrubs on the side of an old dirt road that gets no traffic at all. And it'll be interesting to see if the bear continues to use these throughout the coming summer. So if you recall in last week's video, I also showed where the bear had ripped open this log, and it has been back to this site as well and has further scattered some material from the log there. More steps have been in here. Note where the dirt is on top of the sawdust and where the heavy footsteps went when the bear stood here and did this activity. So this has all been dug out in the past week. Note the claw marks in here where the bear raked this log, and it's really spongy wood. I mean, this stuff is soft, very wet because we've had rain. I could probably even squeeze water out of that. So this is really super rotting wood, and the bear is after any kind of grubs or insects that are in here making their living here inside this rotting log. And the bear has also been here. Remember I showed the wallow, and here's a track. Not the best track, but there is a track right here. So you can see the left metacarpal pad on the front foot, and there's the toes up here where the bear stepped. And it looks like there was some digging that happened here. So perhaps the bear was after water. This spring normally is full of water, but it's been such a drought the last 4 months or so that we haven't had anything to fill this up. So they're probably thirsty. And also the log right here shows signs where the bear took a swipe at it and knocked some of the bark off. And maybe it'll start digging into this part of the log soon. You know, there's some marks here and here that show the bear was at least interested in it. But the rotting part is the part where all the good tasty bits are going to be, like grubs and ants and ant larvae. That's what he wants to eat. There's very few good food sources right now because it's so early in the season and everything's not really growing yet. So ripping apart logs and eating grass are a couple of the ways the bears are sustaining themselves right now. I thought this was kind of cool. So here's a bear trail heading towards a fallen log. You can see the footsteps in the grass here and here. And the note underneath the log that there's quite a bit of disturbance here. Here's the fallen log. It's across the road. And what caught my eye was that it looks like the bears have been standing right here. So why would they do that? And look at the activity on that particular track there where it was pushed forward. Notice how the debris in the mud has been pushed forward. There's some striations in the mud right there. So what happened here? There's a print right here where it looks like a toe dug in and the grass got disturbed. So let's look a little closer at the log. So right here on the log, there's some nice snagged bear fur. So what the bear's been doing is standing under the log and rubbing its back on this tree in order to snag its fur on there. It doesn't do this to snag its fur. It does that to scent mark and to scratch its back. But note how much bear fur has been snagged right here, just on this one little broken off branch. So that explains why the bear stopped and why there was some activity in the tracks that I showed you, because the bear was rubbing its back and forth over this nice little scratching post here. Just kind of a cool thing to see out in the woods. So I just followed a bear trail through here, and there's trees down on either side of that road over there, so you have to kind of go cross country. And I was following the bear's trail, and I came upon this, which looks like one of the bear's beds. Let's go look. So in the spring, bears will develop temporarily used beds that are nearby to the areas where they go feeding. And right here I'm next to a green field where the bears have been feeding on grass out there. And it looks like the bear has created a temporary bed here. And this one doesn't look like it has a lot of use. This may have been just recently made and perhaps used once and not used again yet. So we'll see. It's got a pretty good view around here. It's enclosed in vegetation, but it's on a little elevated rise here, and the bear can look around and see who's out here. So it's kind of a safe place, and it's also concealed behind all the fallen trees. So that's a good location for a bear to have a bed, and it's also nearby to the field where all the food is right now. So you notice that that's a 3-inch ruler, by the way, so it's relatively round, and it's been scooped out. Some of the pine needles, in this case, these are Monterey pines, have actually been scooped away and have made this round depression in the ground. Kind of hard to tell it's a depression because the light is really low in here, but it's a round scooped out area. What the bear will do is curl up there and take a nap and then go back out and feed for a while, and it might come back to this bed or it might come back to another one. If they use these a lot of times you'll find kind of a rim of bear scat around it, because they will deposit their scat before they go out and feed, and they usually do it somewhere right around the edge of their sleeping bed. So this is just a temporarily used one, and I'm hoping the bear will come back to it. I'm not going to leave any scent in it because I want to see if the bear will actually reuse this. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just a single use and they're done. So, and other times, if they use it a lot, you can find bear fur stuck in it too. So that's another clue that will help you, tell you who made this. The other clue that I had, of course, was because I followed that bear's trail right up through here, and it ended up at this bed. So I know who made it that way also. So, hope you enjoyed, and that's just another black bear sign that you can find out in the woods.